till I can't no more.
I got the horses in the bag. Horse stock is a tag.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Spdrmnkyxxii. Recently there were a bunch of info and rumors going around that how they built giant sets at the studio bigger than a couple football fields. Now this is coming from Atlanta Filming, who has provided many set photos and brand new infos about Spider-Man 3. So there's a good chance he's telling the truth, but at the same time just take it with a grain of salt since nothing has been confirmed yet. And if this is true, this is most likely for the final battle of the film, where Peter has to face the main villain or villains depending on what's going on. Not to mention, this could potentially be the biggest final battle for Spider-Man film yet. And it makes sense since Far From Home had a massive final battle, and John Watts and co might want to top that for this film. Now who could Peter Parker be facing? I think there's a good chance he could be facing Kraven the Hunter. However, at this point we have zero news on Kraven the Hunter. We know that John Watts wanted Kraven for Spider-Man 3, however things could change depending on the story. However, since we have characters like Doc Ock and Electro showing up in this film, I wouldn't be surprised if this is where we'll finally see the MCU's version of the Sinister Six, where Peter Parker has to face 6 of his most dangerous villains all at once. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind this as long as it's done properly and executed well, since the last thing we want is another Spider-Man film that has too many villains and has many characters that aren't balanced well. However, since Marvel and Sony are working together on this, I believe that there's a very good chance that this could work, and hopefully it does, as I do think that the Sinister Six does have a chance of showing up. As of right now, I do think that the Sinister Six could work in Spider-Man 3, especially with everyone knowing that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. And they could also use the final battle to show how far Tom Holland's Peter Parker has come from struggling to fight the Vulture to fight 6 of his dangerous villains all at once. And if this is true, I can't wait to see how it plays out. Now, after this news came about, a lot of people are thinking that this is when Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield will finally come in and team up with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. As when it was originally leaked that they will be showing up, it was said that that's when they will actually show up to fight the Sinister Six while Tom Holland's Peter Parker is beaten and broken, needing help to face them. However, I doubt this is true, since if this were to happen, it would literally come out of nowhere. And I know something similar happened in Avengers Endgame. However, for Avengers Endgame, it was inevitable that was going to happen in the film since the plot demanded it, and it was pretty much at the perfect time. However, when it comes to Spider-Man 3, Peter Parker's most personal film yet, unless things has changed, I don't see that happening. I think it's important that Tom Holland's Peter Parker has to face the Sinister Six if they're going to be in the film or the main villain, so that they can have a neat ending for MCU Spider-Man's trilogy. And if they were going to appear, it's most likely going to be a post-credit scene, as if they were so important for the film, I don't think Marvel and Sony would have waited that long, as it wouldn't really make any sense, since if their characters were so vital, they would have had to make sure that Andrew and Tobey were signed on before filming started. And according to Charles Murphy, Marvel and Sony did get Tobey Maguire, I believe, a week ago, and if that's the case, that means that him and Andrew won't play a huge role in the film and will most likely just cameo, which I believe is a post-credit scene, since I believe something similar happened during the filming of Spider-Man Far From Home. They brought in J.K. Simmons to shoot his cameo for the post-credit scene of the film. So with the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield rumors, assuming that they're even true in the first place, which by now they probably are, good chance that will just show up in the post-credit scene, therefore setting up Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness and potentially a Spider-Verse film starring those 3. Hopefully that happens. And with Kevin Feige announcing that Spider-Man 3 will connect with Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, it kind of reminds me when he said something similar about Ant-Man and the Wasp before that film came out, talking about how that film is important for Avengers Endgame, as the quantum realm played a huge role in both of those films, specifically in the post-credit scene where Jenna Van Dyne mentions a time vortex, as that what sets up the time travel plot in Avengers Endgame. So I think a post-credit scene would be enough to connect Spider-Man 3 with Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. However, at the end of the day, anything is possible and they could show up, but for the plot and the story itself, I don't think that's very likely. However, again, I could definitely be wrong, as we know that Spider-Man 3 will have something to do with the multiverse. I just think it will be in small ways rather than being a full-on Spider-Verse film. But either way, it's definitely possible that Peter Parker could be facing the Sinister Six, especially when we have characters like Electro and Doc Ock, who were the original members of the Sinister Six, especially Doc Ock being the main leader. And I definitely think it's very possible for them to introduce the Sinister Six and use other members such as Vulture, Shocker, Scorpion, Mysterio if he turns out to be alive, and Electro and Doc Ock, as those 2 are confirmed. So I'm very intrigued on what may happen, but then again, nothing has been confirmed as of yet, and we just gotta wait patiently for any news on it. However, what about you guys? What are your thoughts on Marvel and Sony building massive set for what could potentially be the final battle of the film? Do you think it will be for the final battle? And if so, who do you think Peter Parker will face? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. If you enjoyed this video, please like, and want more, subscribe. To begin, Spdrmnkyxxii.